If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Welcome out. We are live at Adams Jeep in Aberdeen tonight. The happy hours extended tonight for There Goes My Hero and the foundation that we're working to save my wife's life. And I got football players all over the place. Eric Sowers here from There Goes My Hero. Give it up for him. And the man of the hour, Eugene Monroe, here making the long trek. Eugene, I gotta tell you, this is Hartford County here. This is the heart of Ravens country. Would you guys agree with that? Yeah. I always say that. More flags, more purple bumper stickers, more fans with pictures, and more roosted nests than probably anywhere else in the state. So always good to be back up here. How's your off season? Making babies, are you?
Yeah. Just had my second little boy. He's almost 2 weeks old. So
give it up. So I was texting you about the show like that day, literally, and I went on to Twitter and I saw you had made the announcement that the child had entered the world.
Yeah, that was a great day, man. It was awesome seeing my daughter come out, and then 2 years later having my son be born, and it's just unbelievable. Just like, wow, I'm a dad, and then now it's for real. Like now I have this little man that I have to raise, and it's a unique feeling.
Right tackle?
No.
I'm not gonna let him play football.
If he wants to, only if he wants to.
What's the advice you would give now that you've been through it?
Only if you want to play, because it's definitely not an easy life. It's definitely worth it. I love the game, but you see too many people not make it because they just play because they're talented, but they're not in it. You have to be in it. You have to want to do it. So if he wants to do that, then while I raise him, I'm going to give him all the tools that I can. And if he doesn't want to do it, then, I'll help him do whatever it is that he chooses.
Now, see, the Ravens didn't draft you, but they might have drafted you. But the biggest thing they always talk about is passion for the game. That started with Ted Marchibroda. I wrote about it in Purple Rain 1, then again in Purple Rain 2, that most of what they're doing, preparing for a draft, is, do you love the game? They've had guys that didn't love the game, and they let those guys go elsewhere. It's such hard work, and I think the fans have such adulation, and there's they're fans. They don't see you getting up every morning. They don't see the ice on the body. They don't see the treatment. They don't see the stim. They don't see the whirlpool. They don't see what your body looks like. Forget Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday's the bad day, right? Second day is always.
They definitely don't see. May 6th, how you feel getting out of bed in the morning, just, taking a couple minutes to warm your body up before you do anything. So it's definitely taxing, and if you don't love it, it just doesn't work for you. But, being on this team, I'm fortunate to be around a bunch of guys who love the game, have fun playing it, and excel doing it. So it's pretty good.
Was there ever a part of you that wasn't loving it so much in Jacksonville? I mean, it's got to be tough not winning.
It's tough not winning, but if you love the game and you're a competitor, you'll go out every week and give your all.
Well, we got a big show here tonight. We got a lot to learn. Eric's here, and we educated Todd last week, and we keep bringing Eric back on. Because he's the first guy to step up to try to help me save my wife's life. Get the volume down a little bit on the monitor there, but I met Eric, how many days ago now? I guess 40 days, maybe? 35, 40 days ago?
A little over a month.
Yeah, I met you on opening day, so that was March 31st. So today's May 6th, so I've known you 37 days. So after my wife was diagnosed, which you can only imagine the joy that you felt on the day of your birth, the night that my doctors walked into a room at 10 after 5 on March 20th and told my wife, you have leukemia, you might die. You got a long, take off, you're going to need 6 months off. You're going to need all your energy, and here's what you're going to go through. And believe it or not, the first phone call we made was to Chuck Pagano, who had been here, who had been through leukemia kind of famously, and he walked us through. And then for the next 7 days, I don't think I answered email from anybody. I was answering stuff on Facebook, but all the emails sort of piled up. And as I went through them, a lot of them were just well wishes, and we love you, and we love your wife, we want to help, what can we do, where can we send flowers, and she couldn't have flowers. And several people pointed me to this guy over here and said, this is the guy you need to meet who will help you with your wife. And so I reached to Eric, and 10 days later, he came down, and we got to talking about his story and his foundation. And this is, I guess, the point where I turn it over to you. And you get to tell your story a little bit, because Eugene doesn't know who you are, but he understands he's up here tonight doing a good turn. We're getting donors up here at Adams Jeep tonight. We're raising money for a foundation. They always wonder, where's the money going? What is?
Right.
He's not on the registry, by the way, are you? You're not?
No.
Not on the. Well, you will be before you leave tonight. So
I'll get a picture too.
now I got to get you swabbed up tonight. Get you on the registry.
All right. Well, thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
Always a
Eugene,
pleasure to
nice
have you
meet
here.
Want to acknowledge our volunteers out there swabbing again.
Absolutely.
That's always important. We're on May 6th today, so I will be 6 years removed from a leukemia diagnosis on the 12th. So I had got that diagnosis, and I was kind of don't pass go right down to Johns Hopkins and
he lives right here in Harford County. He lives right here in Bel Air. Yeah.
went down to Hopkins and they did the bone marrow biopsies, which you are now very familiar. They told me I had a leukemia diagnosis.
This is where they think you have cancer, and then they go in and drill your bone in your back and pull out your marrow.
Cord sample.
Yeah, then they come back. It's like a screwdriver. My wife said it was the most excruciating thing she's ever imagined.
Curls your toes.
Yeah, and they pull it out, and they come back and say you either have cancer or you don't have cancer.
So they said I had cancer, and then the typical protocol is you're hospitalized, start treatment now. My wife, who was here last time with Todd Heap, not here tonight, she's home with her boys. At the time she was pregnant with our second son. We had have a younger guy who was 4.5 at the time. So we went home after that diagnosis. We had our baby on May 20th, 2008, and then I went in for treatment on the 27th. I stayed that trip for 24 days, recovered for a bit, then relapsed almost 3 weeks after being released. Treatment for 21 more days, achieved remission, was lined up for a bone marrow transplant. I started to get sick, my liver malfunctioned. My donor got lost. He ended up getting bronchitis, so they need to find me another bone marrow donor. Had a third round of chemotherapy, again kind of late 2008, and had no donor. My liver was failing. It's a pretty sad time for me and my family. There's just pictures of me with my little baby and my son, and not knowing that I...
He was down to $180. How do you think he looks at $180? He's 240 today.
Pretty frail.
Pretty frail.
Pretty frail. Yeah, my legs.
My wife's down to 105. She walked in at 117. So she's down 12 pounds. I'm down 8. Kitty's down 2. But we're feeding Kitty right now. So that's our family story.
So thankfully for me, after that Halloween, I was pretty hopeless. No donor, pretty sick. Things just, however you do it, you pray, you thank your doctors, but something came together. They found another donor for me. They understood why my liver was malfunctioning, got me treated, and I ended up getting a bone marrow transplant on November 18th, 2008. So to keep a long story short, there's a lot that goes into a bone marrow transplant. I ended up getting the marrow from a 19-year-old woman from Rothenburg, Germany. Took me about 2 years to heal up after that.
Now, she's a girl that did a swabbing, just like we're doing in the back, literally. I got swabbed before I left here. They had 49 swabbings last Tuesday night, and their goal was 50. And I'm like, well, I'm not on the registry. And I literally swabbed while Todd was taking his last pictures before we ran down to Box Hill to get crab cakes. And it took me less than 60 seconds, literally, to fill the whole form out.
That's the longest part.
And to swab left and right. Took me 60 seconds. I'm now on the registry, and believe me, if I ever get a call, I'll be the first guy taking the needle to save a life, knowing what my family's going through and what your family went through. And the weird part is we keep hearing these stories again and again, because out of the woodwork come all of these leukemia survivors and bone marrow transplant people. There are more of them walking the earth than I thought. I thought you guys were like astronauts. I thought there were only a handful of you.
No, there are quite a few, and it's I guess there's probably 6,000 new diagnoses that are similar to mine, maybe 20,000 new blood cancer diagnoses every year. So it's a pretty significant disease. My donor, he was 18 years old. So a 110-pound blonde woman from Germany. So if she can donate her bone marrow, just about anybody can.
That's his story. Saved his life. Perfect stranger, 19-year-old girl in Germany. Went to the hospital, took a needle. He's still here 6 years later. That's why we're here tonight. So that's where my wife is. They came in and told my wife about 2 weeks after diagnosis that she needs a bone marrow transplant. And I figure I need to surround myself with guys like him. And doing the right thing. Talk about your charity a little bit, where the money goes and where the donor goes.
Sure,
we're going to get back talking to football with Eugene for sure.
Yeah. So during my treatment, it was pretty extensive. I spent 107 days at Hopkins all in. And then every day for about 6 months is everyday outpatient, which you know very well from what you're experiencing right
7
now.
a.m. every morning. We're at the hospital. We're there till noon every day.
So it's intensive, and again, remember, we have a 4.5-year-old son and a newborn baby. My in-laws moved into my home, so it's a pretty difficult time. And we're up here in Harford County. It's about 26 miles door to door from Johns Hopkins. My wife is my caregiver, much as you are to Jen. And we had a great group of people who helped us by providing meals to our family. So our organization does 2 core things. What you're seeing today in the back, we register bone marrow donors. We do it for patients like Jen. We do it for colleges and universities because we can get people when they're young and we can get them on the registry for many years. And now we're doing that not only locally, University of Maryland, Towson, Loyola, Morgan State. Most of the major colleges around here, we're running bone marrow drives, and then we're now also...
Well, if you're an 18 or a 20-year-old person, you can stay on the registry for 40 years.
40
so for
years.
40 years, your DNA stays out there, and if the right match comes along, as he says, you hit the lottery. You get to save someone's life.
Save someone's life. So, and we're also now running them across the country. So to date, we've registered near to about 5,000 people. We've matched about 40 to 50, and we know we've facilitated about 5 or 6 bone marrow transplants as a result. So it doesn't sound like a big number, but that's very significant.
Just by show of hands, how many people in here have had cancer affect their life? A loved one, relative? I think it's universal, right? You raised your hand, which is where I was leading. You have any cancer stories in your family?
Right in the house. When I was young, my father, he had cancer. So did my grandmother, grandfather. So
wow, runs in hereditary.
All around.
Wow. Well, there's a specific thing that we could talk to you about being African American is that the registry, his life was saved because he's of Danish origin. My wife has an unbelievable chance of living because she's white.
Northern European.
Because she's white and blue-eyed, and literally there are more people in the registry than there are African American, Asian, South American, Latin, of any African of any descent.
The statistic is for just the general population. The statistic is 4 out of 10 people will find a match. African American, white, whatever it is. Just us all.
60% of the people diagnosed die, like literally die and have no donor. They just die.
The treatment's intense, and the disease can recur. You have a 30% chance of one or the other biting you.
Well, they told my wife if she did not get the bone marrow transplant, the cancer will come back. They do the pathology on it, they know, and that it'll kill her. And they need to stop that before it comes back. So that's why we're here tonight. Hate to bring it downer in the off season, but we're going to make it an upper in the season when we get her fixed and get her where she needs to be. We're paying it forward with the donors tonight. And
you can't change the situation. You can only do something about it, and that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. So you had already...
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.